Thank you. I'm going to follow up on that just a little bit. Just so you know, in my area, and we're supposed to be here looking for jobs and improving the economy, there is no federal agency that is perceived to lack common sense more and doing more to endanger the American economy than the EPA. Okay, and people, when I talk to them, always kind of wonder what these people are doing in Washington, that they're so far removed from reality when they come up with new regulations and this sort of thing to kind of penalize or hamstring American business. Now, this isn't exactly the type of hearing that I thought I was signing up for when I ran for this job. I thought I was going to be, talking to the EPA about, what are your people doing when they come up with these ridiculous ozone rules. Now we kind of know, at least what some of them are doing. How do you, is it really true, what these people are saying on here, that there were some of these people spending 2 to 6 hours a day watching porn? Is that accurate, what the testimony we're getting here?
It is accurate that we had 3 cases, or one of which was a criminal case, and then 2 other cases that were identified within the last couple of years, that those 2 employees were watching unbelievable and completely offensive and unacceptable amounts of pornography. That is 2 people out of a very large agency. And that's not to be defensive about that at all, it just is to state it.
Do you think, because that's what they were doing, first of all, that more people could be doing it, and secondly, if in their job they had the time to dilly-dally around and spend 2 to 6 hours watching porn, maybe other employees are spending 2 to 6 hours doing maybe not things that would be as interesting to the home viewing audience, but doing whatever else people do when they're not working?
Congressman, I believe from my experience with EPA that that is a very, very small number, that the vast majority of vast majority, and I think the Inspector General would agree with me, the vast majority of EPA employees are dedicated and hardworking and doing the things to protect the environment for the people of this country that have produced a much cleaner environment over the last 45 years.
In the future, if you catch someone watching porn on their computer, how often do you have to have that screen up before you think they're terminated?
It's clear that the 2 cases involved, that the proposing official felt that that was more than enough information to require them to be terminated. I don't know that there's a specific bright line because we have to consider due process and the Douglas factors in doing conduct and discipline cases. But clearly what these 2 employees did, and not to prejudge the last action, which is still an administrative process, but it was way out there.
Okay. I maybe, like a lot of people, we had other meetings going on in the building. Maybe I didn't catch. You're saying the Douglas factors. Do you think an hour a day, a half hour a day, 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day? What are you saying rises to the level that you feel that maybe this person should find another line of work?
Well, again, to be clear, any amount of watching pornography on EPA computers on EPA time is unacceptable. The question then becomes, what level of sanction would you impose as a result of that?
Right, that's exactly right. And if we find that somebody has been watching porn for an hour a week, a half hour a week, 15 minutes a week, at what point do you think they should no longer be working for the EPA? If you just had to give us a wild guess.
I'm hesitant to do that about any specific cases, but some of the kind of upper numbers that you mentioned would cause grave questions for me if I were their supervisor, why that person should be working for EPA.
Okay, how about the lower numbers I mentioned? How about a half hour? You think a half hour is out of line?
There would be consequences and discipline associated with that. Again, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm being splitting hairs or being overly complicated, but each one of these cases has to be considered individually.
I tell you what I'm going to do for you, just because, this is not an area that I'm an expert in. Next time I go back to my district and I tour my local manufacturers that are being, really threatened with their existence and throwing all their employees out because of what the EPA is doing, I will ask them how many hours a week or half hours a week or 15-minute slots a week of porn they allow their employees to watch before they terminate them. So you kind of have kind of know what what the average company out there feels is a good policy. And I'll get back to you on that, and then you'll have some direction. Is that okay? And I appreciate you spending the time today.
Thank you, Congressman.
I